Hello, so in this video, we are going to talk about AIME Mindset. What is that? There's two things that you do when preparing for the AMC10 and the AMC12. One of them is all the formulas, concepts, theorems, ideas, principles, all of that kind of content that you've been studying, hopefully for several years now. The other half is your mindset. Right? It's just as important as all the other prep work. You need to prepare your mind. You need to think about what it takes to qualify for AIME. In this video, I'm going to talk to the students that you came within one question of qualifying last year. Maybe you've come within one question a couple of years, right? You guessed on one and you lost the 1.5 points for skipping. Right? I've heard all the stories. I know how it goes. Okay, you made so many sillies or whatnot. This is for you. You need to listen to the whole video. Try not to skip any of the content. I'm going to go through many things and pointers that will help you in your objective this year. The first thing I wrote is preparation. What is the preparation? Like I said, it's what you've been doing. It's the previous AMC10s that you've done, all of them, hopefully. If you're trying to qualify for AIME and you didn't do them, I don't know if you're going to make it. Okay? That's okay though. You can still follow this video. It's just that maybe it's not your goal this year to get to AIME. You can still learn from the tactics, the mental strategies that you need to have. Okay, so you've done all the AMC10s. You've done as many AOPS books as your schedule will allow. Many kids do multiple extracurriculars, and you could only do one or two books like Volume 1, the most essential book for the AMC10. That's fine, okay? You did what you could, right? What else have you done? You should have made a notebook of all the key concepts and formulas that are on the test that you think will appear. Personalize it for yourself, right? If there's certain little truisms that you have learned are important for you, write them to yourself. Something like, when I see angle bisector, think angle bisector theorem. You know, when I see quadratic, think sum and product of roots. Little things like that that you're telling yourself how to react. Green light, go. Okay? So that's what you've done. We're already there. I wrote Victorious Warriors. What is that about? Sun Tzu in The Art of War has a quote, and it says, victorious warriors win first and then go to war, while defeated warriors go to war first and then seek to win. What is it about? It's got a couple applications. The dominant application of it is you need to prepare to win. If you don't prepare but you expect to win, you try to figure it out once you start the test, then you're basically not going to make it. There's also one that says, if those who fail to plan to fail, right? So you have to plan and make a preparation. We've already covered that. The second application of it is a little more interesting, and that is you need to believe that you are going to achieve the success that you desire. If you do not believe, if you go into the competition thinking, oh, I'm probably not going to make it, or I'm probably not going to achieve my goal, guess what? You won't, right? You have to believe that you're going to do it. Win in your mind, and then go and fulfill your destiny, your goal, right? Okay, so that's the first part. Next part, confidence versus arrogance, right? We just talked about believing that you're going to win, believing you're going to achieve success in your mind, but you can be overconfident. You can be arrogant, right? An arrogant student, when they're taking the test, they just assume that all their answers are right. It must be, it's me and I'm smart, so I got it right. And they don't even think to check their work. That's going to cost you. Don't do that. The test should have humbled you by now. How many times have you given an answer and thought, oh, it must be this, but you read the solution, oh, I forgot to take into consideration X, right? Okay, then that's where you need to understand what you have to do. Be confident you will succeed, that you will be able to do it, but be humble enough to check your work, okay? Anxiety and fear, right? The secret to this is that the competition represents an opportunity, right? Without the competition, there is no greatness, right? You want to achieve greatness. Is a man or a woman ever considered great without passing the trial, without passing the test of their life, or whatever the test of that period of their life is, without overcoming the competition that they are facing, the trial that they are facing, right? The obstacle in their way. Without overcoming that, they are not considered great, right? So what is the competition? It's your opportunity, right? Embrace it. Love the fact that you're taking this test. You're trying to achieve a goal, an objective that you want to achieve, Okay? Don't worry about, let the anxiety and fear go, I might not make it. Again, mindset. You must think that you're going to accomplish it. And then when you're in there, love it. Love every minute. This is what you prepare for, right? Is there a Super Bowl champion without a Super Bowl? No, right? You want to be a champion. You want to get to the top. You have to have the competition to get there. Then you get 2 opportunities, the A test and the B test. You better be taking both because that doubles your chance of qualifying. Okay? If you can. Next up, the mark of a championship team. I heard it said somewhere, maybe on talk radio for sports, that the mark of a championship team is that they defeat the teams they're supposed to defeat. Right? So that if you're, one of the top teams in the NBA this year, the Lakers or the Bucks, you should be beating the sub-500 teams, the teams that don't win more than half their games. You're supposed to beat them. Did you defeat them? That's the mark of a championship team. The same thing applies to the student who's going to qualify for AIME. Did you get right the questions that you knew how to do? Did you get right the questions that you prepared for? Right? You must defeat the questions that you're supposed to defeat. Okay? So have that going in. For the AMC10, that's typically going to be your 1 through 15. You need to get to a point where you're getting all of those correct. Now, the test likes to throw curveballs sometimes. Maybe you get a question like number 13, and it's just ridiculous, and it's got a super trap answer, and 97% of kids fall for the trap. Okay, fine. Let that one go. But in general, you want to try to get the first 15 right if you're going to be on track to qualify for AIME. Okay, expectations versus reality. So many students think that if I did all of my preparation and I've learned every single concept on every past year that I am capable of understanding, that I should be expecting to find those things on the test. It's true, you will find some of those things. But every year, the AMC puts questions that nobody has ever seen before. Nobody has ever seen that concept as the main principle of the underlying solution path. It's never happened. So why do you take the test expecting that you're going to know all of the solution paths within 30 seconds to 45 seconds of looking at the problem? Right? It doesn't work that way. AIME qualifiers survive on those questions. Right? It's the deserted island principle, I call it. When you find yourself on a deserted island and you don't know what to do to survive, you're going to have to figure it out, or you fail and you don't survive. You don't achieve your goal, right? You may have never spearfished. You may have never gone looking for berries in the woods. I guarantee you're going to try it, right? That has to be your mindset. You're going to have those kinds of questions. Don't freak out. Expect it. That needs to be your expectation, that you will find questions that you do not know how to do the moment you look at the problem. It's okay. Remain calm. Everyone else taking the test, or the majority of them, are having the exact same experience as you. Okay, baby steps then. On those difficult problems, so many times I have looked at a problem and thought, oh, if I do such and such, it will look like this, but that's not going to help me. So I'm not going to do it. No, you need to do it. When you're looking at work on your paper versus seeing it in your mind will often see things that it didn't see when it was visualizing. So don't be afraid to take the baby steps. On a sequence and series problem, write out a few terms. See what happens after the first few iterations of the problem that you're doing, right? You're looking for a pattern the majority of the time. Take the baby steps, right? And then if you still can't find a solution after taking a few baby steps, then maybe move on to the next question. Okay? It's like light switches. What's this about? You go to a friend's house, right? Maybe they're a little well off. They've got 5 light switches in their bathroom or whatever, some kind of switch on the wall. And you're like, which one turns on the light? Do you stay there paralyzed, looking at them, wondering which switch is going to turn on the light? Maybe one of them heats the floor. They've got a floor heater. One of them opens a cupboard or something. They've got some, I don't know, whatever you could have in there. One is the lights for the shower. One is the fan, right? You don't know which one does what. Do you look at them and just go, oh man, how am I going to figure this out? Paralyzed with fear? Do you go ask your friend, hey, which switch turns on the light? No, right? What do? You flick the switches. You just flick them one at a time, and eventually one of them goes on. When the light goes on, that must have been the light switch. And the same thing applies to problem solving. When you don't know what to do, start doing manipulations. Start changing the appearance. So for example, in one problem, there's like 1 over A plus 1 over B is the desired solution, but you don't know how to get it. The trick on that problem, I don't remember which one, you're supposed to just, what can you do with this? What's the only manipulation that you can do with this expression? You can combine it, so combine it then. Just do it, see what happens. B up to B, A up to A, multiply the bottom, now it looks different. And the different look could trigger you seeing the solution path. Manipulate things that you get. Manipulate the given information that they give you in a problem. Right? Once you've done that, see if you can capitalize on the new information that you have created. That is an essential skill that you must have to qualify for the AIME. Okay? The next thing is comparison to others. Either before the test, during the test, and after the test, it might be tempting to make comparisons to others. Maybe you have your arch nemesis at school that's also competing and you're trying, I'm just kidding. Nobody has an arch nemesis in math. Typically, we're all pretty supportive of each other. But maybe you have somebody that you really want to defeat. You want to get a higher score than them. You want to be first place in your school, whatever it might be, right? You might want those kinds of things, and you start thinking, how am I going to do relative to these other people, the nation, everybody taking the test? Forget about that kind of stuff. Let that go. The only person that you should be comparing yourself to is yourself. Are you better than you were last year? Did you get a higher score percentage-wise, like your percentile in the country? And the difficulty changes every year. So is your percentile score higher than it was the year before? Yes or no, right? Are you better than you were last month? That's what you compare yourself to. Other people have different amounts of preparatory material and access than you did. Everybody has a different path to get to the test. Some people, they started Beast Academy in 2nd through 5th grade. They did every AOPS book. They've had a private tutor, a private coach. They went to Awesome Math. Whatever. They've got all these stories. They did AOPS classes. That's a lot of resources that they've had access to that you haven't. That's why you can't compare yourself to them. Right? They should have a higher expectation of their score with all of that prep than perhaps you do. Not everyone can afford a private tutor, right? So don't worry about those kinds of things. Do the best that you can. I wrote the Man in the Arena speech from Teddy Roosevelt. Look it up when you have time. Right? This is what you should think about. You're the man in the arena. You're the one subjecting yourself to the pressure, right? Other people that aren't taking the test, think about it. How many kids in your school don't even bother to take this test, right? They don't even try to take it. And then what? You're going to think that, let them think less of you because you didn't qualify for AIME. Forget those people, right? Don't worry about them. You are here. That's great. This is what you should be doing. You are subjecting yourself willfully. Maybe your parents are making you. But willfully, for the most part, subject yourself to pressure, right? The championship players, the championship teams, they live for that pressure. I live for that pressure. Right? I love it. I love that feeling. Right? The game is on the line. You are under pressure. That is a great feeling. It means that you are striving for something. Right? It means that you are taking advantage of your opportunities to succeed. It's great, right? You have a chance, an opportunity to succeed. Live for it, right? Don't let that pressure be something that bothers you. Don't let it translate into anxiety and fear. Embrace it. Love it. This is your chance, right? Without it, there is no glory. There is no greatness. Then just live for that pressure, okay? Next one, inner peace, inner calm. You have to control your emotions. You get to number 7 on the test, and it's demoralizing. You can't figure it out, and it's only number 7, it only gets harder from here. The test is fluky sometimes. There'll be a fluky number 7 or 8 that's really tricky, and it's really hard to perceive the solution path, and many people can't find it, and then that sets you back the rest of the test. Right? You can't do that. You have to ignore whatever those kinds of constraints were that bothered you in the previous problems. Once you move on, once you skip to the next question, let it go. Don't think about it. The next question is your next chance to get one right. Maybe you end up having to skip number 7 ultimately on the test. What I would do is come back later after you've answered all the known questions and see if you're now able to figure it out. There are some times when I've been taking a test that something late in the test will trigger, oh yeah, I could have done that on that earlier problem. So maybe that will happen for you. Probably not, but it could. So don't let the residue from a previous problem get to you, right? Otherwise, that residue might be what causes you to make a silly. Okay, preparation versus performance. During your performance, do not grade your preparation. Do not think, oh, I knew I should have studied Chinese remainder theorem. Here's a problem that could have used it. I knew I should have done AOPS number theory last summer and I didn't get to. Right? And you think these thoughts during the test. No, no, no. The test is the time to perform. It is not the time to evaluate your preparation. You can think about preparation before, you can think about preparation after. During the test, you must perform. You have to overcome your inadequacies, overcome the mistakes that you made in preparation during that time. If you're being bogged down by thinking about what you should have done, it will affect the answer that you give and possibly cause you again to make silly mistakes. How do you evaluate performance? Many students think, oh, for me, for example, I wanted an A on every test in math in school. But there was a difference. I hoped for 100%, and with one exception. Let's say I took a 25-question test, and I was only able to answer 23, but the two that I wasn't able to answer ended up being concepts that I skipped over in studying, thinking they wouldn't be on the test. I gambled, I risked it, right? Okay, then if I get all 23 of these ones right, I missed the two skips, okay? If that happens and I did this, I am satisfied with my performance. I am not satisfied with my preparation, right? It's okay if you perform and you don't make any mistakes. Again, the mark of a championship team. You got right what you knew how to do. That's the best that you can ask for. You cannot ask for any more than that during the test, so don't think about it. And after the test, don't kick yourself and think you had a bad performance because you had to skip 2 or 3 questions or something like that, right? As long as it was something that you knew how to do, that you got it right, you didn't make sillies, that's all that you can ask for. Okay, the next one is the sillies themselves. What are these? On the forums, kids call these sillies. It's pretty common. It means you made a silly mistake, right? And many students have said things to the effect of, it's a test to measure who can make the fewest sillies in 75 minutes or whatnot. And they kind of dismiss the silly, like it's not a big deal, right? That is the wrong approach to take. In large part, the test is a test to find out who can make the fewest mistakes under pressure. They want to find that information out. If you are a student who consistently makes mistakes under pressure, you will probably never qualify for AIME. You'll never win the championship. You must learn how to overcome that. You must learn to not make the sillies on the test. Don't disregard it and think, oh, this isn't right, they got me. No, no, no. The test is designed to eliminate students who make mistakes under pressure. Okay? You have to understand that. So what you should be doing is when you make a silly, you need to, on previous contests in your preparation time, when you're preparing for the test, practicing, do not just move on and go, oh, I didn't do something, right? For example, let's say you had the end of a problem and you got x minus 23 equals 31, and you were like, oh, x equals 8, because you're going really fast, right? And 31 minus 23, okay, right? Everyone's done that. Everyone has made this mistake, right? What you should be doing is asking yourself, when you see yourself do something as simple as this, what could you have done to prevent it? Tell me, if you were to have written plus 23 plus 23, do you think looking at 31 plus 23, you're going to write x equals 8? The answer is no. No one's going to do that. But you know why you don't do this? Because you think that you don't have to. You know, because honestly, if you're watching this video, you're probably pretty smart. You know that you don't have to write this to get it right. And you are right 99% of the time. If you're going to risk that 1% comes up on the test and costs you your AIME qualification, I have to say that's foolish, right? Do not do things like that on the test. Now, if you've never made this mistake, feel free to not write stuff like this. Feel free not to take these steps, okay? But if you have, you should strongly consider taking more steps to make sure to prevent mistakes from happening in the first place. Okay, I wrote here A student versus B student. What does this mean? The A students and B students in math typically make the exact same number of mistakes when they're calculating things. The difference is the A student finds their mistakes and fixes them. The B students, they probably don't even check. Which one do you want to be? Right? Are you doing things to prevent mistakes from happening? What are you doing to prevent them? Right? Again, back to the Sillies thing again, a couple more analogies. Right? Jameis Winston is a QB in the NFL. He threw 30 interceptions this year and was the first member of the 30-30 club. 30 touchdowns, 30 interceptions in one season. Would you say Jameis Winston is a good QB as long as you don't count the interceptions? No, right? How about a pilot? Oh, he's a great pilot if you don't consider the fact that he crashed the plane. No, you are hired as a pilot to not crash the plane. That is a crucial mistake under pressure, right? You have to get the plane landed correctly. Okay? The same thing applies to here. Don't dismiss your silly mistakes as no big deal. They are a big deal and they must be controlled if you're going to qualify for AIME. Why is that true? Because the target score for many students who are on the cusp of qualifying is 19 out of 21. Okay? If you get 2 wrong, again, you're allowed to make 2 mistakes for this. You get 2 wrong out of your 21, you will get a 120. Now, this is not guaranteed to qualify anymore, but it has been enough to qualify every test of the last 20 years. Okay? So it's virtually guaranteed that if you get this score, you will qualify. Now, does that mean you have to get this? Again, no. Some years it's harder. Last year's A test, the 2019 A test, had a really low cutoff because it was a really hard test. In that test, you did not need to answer 21 questions. Do not force yourself to get to this amount. It's a rough target. Okay, if you're going to achieve this goal, though, of 19 out of 21, you can only get wrong 2, 1, or 0. So on my tracking form, which is linked in the other video's comments, there's a list for wrong. When you're over this, you need to be evaluating why and what you can do to not allow it to happen. Okay? These 2 are not really that great. They're tolerable. The only real desirable one is to get 0 wrong. Again, get the questions right that you know how to get. Okay? So, what are you doing to prevent? Every time you make a mistake, go back and look at it and ask yourself that question. What could I do differently? You must modify your algorithmic process on all future questions going forward to avoid that mistake. Don't just dismiss it. What is leave it all on the field? It's a saying in sports, right? Leave it all on the court, leave it all on the field. What does it mean? Give it your best shot. And don't leave anything out, right? Do the best that you possibly can so that when you walk away, you can say, I did the best I could. Again, if you got the 23 questions right out of the 25 that you answered and you got them all right, then you performed, your actual performance was your best possible performance that you could have, right? And your preparation wasn't great, but your performance was fine, okay? So you make sure your performance is great, that you have no regrets. Go, right? Win. Lastly, did you get the most out of your abilities, right? Different people have different levels of abilities. Right? Don't worry about if somebody else has higher talent than you. There will always be, someone who is smarter, faster, more clever than you. Don't worry about if you performed at their level. Worry about if you performed at your level. Right? Embrace these concepts. Think about these things. Prepare yourself to win. Have inner calm. Expect it. Okay? Good luck this year on the AIME. Actually, forget the luck. You do what you were supposed to do. You go and you achieve victory. Okay? I hope the video helped. If it did, please subscribe down below. I try to upload every 2 or 3 days, and I hope it helped. Good luck this year. You'll make it.